live at the 7:30 hour Morningwood Radio with your host, Hunter McIntyre, co-host. Today is the most interesting man in Ireland, Mr. Tom. How we doing, boys?
I'm super. Look at that
What an
entrance.
introduction.
I'm not
Most
gonna
interesting man in Ireland. People are going to quickly find out I'm not.
Oh,
Tom,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. You're a deadbeat, dude. We all showed up in our company tees and stuff. And what are you wearing? Some kind of knit cardigan?
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold.
This is called the hoodie, and it's got our logos all over it. These things keep you just as warm, you son of a gun.
I started planning for this show about 3 minutes ago.
It goes to show the work ethic that goes on in Ireland is not what they crack it up to be.
I do have like bits of vinyl with BLDR on it.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Stick it on me forward or something for the show.
You know, you hear all these things about how tough the Irish are and how hardworking they are and stuff, but when you get down to the real brass tacks of it all, they're lazy just like everybody else.
We basically built the whole world, the Irish people.
It's true. This is going to come across as rough, but you guys were kind of the originals, the OGs out here of being cheap, hard labor. But that's what I am. I'm a Garahan. So, like, my grandfather's parents came over from Ireland, and they were raised in, like, Woonsocket, Rhode Island and stuff. They're a cheap, hard-working bunch of people. But you, on the other hand, your family couldn't even afford boat tickets, so you guys were stuck in Ireland. And that's why you've been there ever since.
Been there ever since. Miserable and cold.
You know, I have to say I was really impressed when I went up there. It was really beautiful for like 3 minutes when we got up to the tip of Donegal, and then the rest of it was shit.
Yeah, we turned that on for you. We keep that for when tourists come, especially the Americans, the big spenders.
Yeah.
Then so we revert back to the rain.
Anybody who's tuning in, I'm just going to give an abbreviated elevator pitch of who Tom is and understand why he's here, because normally I don't interview Irish. I won't waste my time. But Tom is a business partner of mine, but more importantly, he is the current reigning world record holder, untouchable by people like Michael Sandbitch and Tim Winnish. And we have a lot of takers. There's a lot of like these just like, you know, these little children that are scratching at the door, wishing that they could get in there, but they can't. They can't. They got these soft little kitten paws when we're grown ass tigers. Okay. We're out there taking people down left, right, and center. And I not only have one world record, I have multiple world records. And Tom, I've actually been going through your athletic career. Tom's been kicking ass since most of you guys have been 10 years old. So he's a decorated man, probably one of the fittest guys in all of the UK and probably the fittest man in all of Ireland. And then, you know, on top of that, Tom is a business partner of mine. He's the president of European development out in the UK for BLDR. And Tom's actually whooping my ass in numbers this month for sales. Tom, I'm not going to lie. A little bit embarrassed over here. A little embarrassed.
You need to pull the finger out.
You got me on my heels right now, dude. You got me on my heels.
I might replace you if you don't pull the finger out.
Yeah, you shut your whore mouth right now, Tom. You shut your whore mouth when you're talking to me.
I saw you pushing that sled at the High Rocks, the second station, that sled push. It was like butter over there. Are you sure you have the same carpet?
Oh, goddamn Americans and their carpets with High Rocks.
That's all we talk about.
It's heavier over there.
It's not a carpet over there. For them, it's a magic carpet. You gotta understand.
I think
it picks
every
the sled
competitor
up
gets a can of Pam to grease the sled.
Yeah, the sled, their magic carpet over there picks it up for them and carries it across the thing. You know, I will start out by saying anytime I hear from somebody talking about the great time that they posted across the ocean, I quickly just put an asterisk on top of that time.
It's impossible. It's impossible to compare times. That's become apparent as the seasons have wore on. That it is impossible, and head-to-heads are really the only way you're ever going to see who is the best at this thing.
I'm just going to say that we still hold the world record. Who gives a shit what they say? What are they going to do?
That was with the 30-second rock zone.
Yeah. What are they going to do to us, Tom? They can't do anything. They can't take it from us. Get right for my cold dead fingers, you son of a gun. So I mean, Tom, there's a lot of things I want to talk about today. Most importantly, we're on an Ironman kick right now, and I know you've done several Ironmans, but I think it's interesting to talk to you about it because you didn't like isolate yourself specifically into Ironmans, but you still had some pretty stellar times. So I think just to kind of like, we're just going to climb up the ladder one step at a time. People want to know, how did it all start and where did you start? Like, I mean, you grew up in like a Cabbage Patch village in Ireland, correct?
Yeah, during the famine, we only ate potatoes.
That's cool. That's cool. Tell us about it. What was that like?
It was good. We didn't have shoes. Very little clothing. Yeah. It's like,
did you guys at that time think that the Earth was flat, and that there was nothing beyond? There was nothing beyond the stone walls of your community. You're like, what's out there?
This is a very racist podcast.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is truly. I'm inquiring. I'm trying to find out what goes on.
It is. It's exactly as you described.
Yeah.
Stone walls, head schools. It's kind of shit that went on.
When did you realize that you're a decent athlete?
I ended up starting. I played soccer and GAA, which is the local sports in Ireland, Gaelic games, up till I was 24, and I was always pretty decent at running. Always wanted the fittest on teams and stuff. And a guy training us one year bet me €100 or something that I wouldn't beat him in a 5K, and that's kind of how it started. I went and bet him. Thought, geez, actually enjoyed this, and just took up running from there. The following year, kind of quit the team sports. The team sport thing was like, people don't put in the effort that you're putting in, so it gets frustrating and annoying. And it's like, I just prefer to do an individual thing. So started running and quickly kind of realized I was decent at it and put in more and more effort into the sport.
I only run for cash. I only run for cash.
There ain't a cash prize. Hunter's not going to show up at that line.
Nope.
Yeah, well, when the kids were very small, we used to only run races that had prize money. We used to pick up a decent amount of prize money every year. It was an extra form of income. So that's, and it makes you hungrier. It's hard to beat someone who's trying to win for a reason.
What was like an average payday for like a good old 10K in Ireland?
You get about €250 or €300, but you wouldn't have to put in any sort of effort. You know, bank holiday weekends, you could go to 3 or 4 races, just run 32 minutes in all of them and pick up the check in all the races. Like, I remember doing 4 marathons in space of 5 weeks and winning like €8,000 without ever really pushing myself in any of the marathons.
That's bad.
Just kind of running 235, 240 in all of them.
How old were you?
When I was running the marathons, probably 32, 33.
Oh, wow. So it's like my age.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I first started mud running, like, you know, I find out about this thing. I run my first one. I take 6th place out of 10,000 people. Then all of a sudden I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, will you cover my ticket into the next one? And my parents were already pissed at me to begin with. And my dad was like, you have 3 races to figure out your shit. Are you coming home? So he pays for one of them. I take 3rd place. I think I got like $150, $200. Then the next one, I take 2nd place. I get $300. Then the next one, I won it and I got $500. And from that point on, we were literally going to a race every single weekend of the month for anywhere from, like, if you won, which I typically was, I was either coming 1st or 2nd place to Hobie. I would be winning like $500 to $1,000, and then we would do the team race the next day, and it would be like a split of like $1,200 to $2,000. So you could walk away every single weekend with around $1,000 to $2,000. And nice. it was like we were sleeping on the floor, like 5 guys in a bed, 2 guys on the floor, 1 guy in the tub with towels laid down all over the place. And that's how we existed. Like, we were just going place to place to place. Like, I didn't have kids, luckily, but it was incredible, dude. It was the most exciting period of time in my life. Like, the only shoes that what's that?
I said party animal.
Well, dude, I mean, we got wasted after every single time. And the greatest part about it is we were so young that the people who were like older at the races, like me, like imagine like a guy who came up and raced and took 2nd place to me at a High Rocks and was like 23. I'd be like, I'm going to get this kid wasted. what a stud. Like, what a stud. So that was what would end up happening is we would just get tanked. But sorry, I didn't mean to distract from your storyline.
So did you
but
guys,
it's a rich period of life.
Would you have raced like the top level lads all the time, or would you avoid each other?
No, every single time we could get a hold of it, because I was number two or number three at the time. There was Hobie Call, Cody Moat, then myself. Then the field started to fill itself in, but every single race, no matter what, I was in third. I was first through third. I've only raced twice off the podium in my entire Spartan race career, except for Spartan race. It was a Spartan race World Championships and then one non-championship race. And we would just show up. And then they had these races like Navy Federal Credit Union, which would sponsor and give $2,000. And those ones you'd show up to. And it literally felt like someone had strapped a turbocharger to like your hips and you were sprinting so hard. And dude, I, at the time, like, you know, had literally accelerated from being like a 16-minute, 17-minute 5K guy in high school. And sometimes I'd break the 15s, but I never really was that good. But then all of a sudden now I'm like 50 pounds heavier and I'm running faster. And we're just going through the woods. It was not those Spartan races you have now. It was just like smashing into trees and bushes and shit. And it was so scary and so intense. And you went home and you just like licked the pus out of your wounds, because at the time back then, they put barbed wire on everything. It was so stupid and so unsafe. I hated it. I have scars all over my body this day. You'd like you'd sit there stiff in a bed for 2 days, and then you'd sober up, and then you'd start racing. Like you'd have 3 days of training, and then you race the weekend.
Racing. Yeah, that's very different than what we had, because there was about 10 guys over here who used to kind of win everything, and we'd all, because there were so many races and such good prize money out there, we just wouldn't race each other. So every Thursday, you get a load of messages on your phone, basically, where are you going this weekend? And we'd all just make sure we didn't go to a place that someone else was going. Yeah. But in the end, it kind of affected, it was to the detriment of running over here, because the standard just really dropped. Yeah. And then in 2000, and just after the London Olympics, we didn't qualify anyone in the Olympics for the marathon from Ireland. So a couple of guys got together and changed everything and basically got everyone in a room and said, you're hurting the sport. You need to race each other week in, week out. We're going to put a team together of all of yous. We're going to support you, give you funding, give us altitude tents, dietitians, all that sort of stuff. And within 2 years, we qualified 12 people for the next Olympics in the marathon.
Wow. Were you were part of that group? Because I know you were running with those guys, right?
Yeah.
So when you started to level up, like where was like the baseline commitments? Like, hey, I'm a runner, to all of a sudden, like I'm going pro. Because for me, it was, I don't know. I decided all of a sudden I was going to hire a running coach, and I was hitting like 50 to 70 miles a week. Like I had to triple the amount of mileage that I was doing to get up there. Like there had to have been a level of commitment, and you're like, I hit this certain point and it became the breaking point for me, or like the tipping point for where I became a total beast.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. There's a guy who doesn't live far from me who was a physio for Bolt and David Oliver and a lot of the top sprinters in the world. And I used to go to him, and just very early, kind of when I was running, he said to me, have you got a coach? And I said, no. And he put me in touch with a guy, and I went and met him. And just from the time I met him, he was kind of like, you need to give up all the other sports. You can actually be quite decent at this. So it was him that kind of put it in my head that if I actually dedicated myself to it, I could go somewhere.
Tom, did you say that you started Gaelic football or Gaelic soccer?
Yeah, so growing up over here, that's the big thing in all the schools, and up till kind of you're an adult, you play Gaelic.
I visited Ireland, and we went to one of those games, the Hibs.
No, I don't know what the hell that is.
Okay. Trash team.
Small town.
Tom, what was that great sport that I was playing in your guys' yard and I was absolutely dominating in? The stick and ball sport.
That's what Ryan is talking about, is hurling.
Yeah, dude. Next champion. Next champion right here, dude.
He's totally useless.
I think hurling champion. He does it all, folks.
Dude, I'm a cement wall moving through time and space. You get anywhere near me, you dead.
He hit like 2 parked cars, a couple of windows, lost the ball,
What you're doing is you're aiming at the goal. I'm aiming at the most expensive thing that I can see. I want to see what damage I can cause. That's the kind of amateur move that you have. You got this big goal, big square. I'm aiming at car windows. They're about this big. Okay, Tom? You got it all wrong, buddy. So you doubled down, and how long was the span of your running career? Like I'm talking about real running career, not like, hey, I was a runner in high school. Like, let's talk about when all of a sudden you started strapping up your shoes and daddy wasn't paying for the tickets anymore.
Yeah, probably about 10 years from when I got like really competitive to kind of finish just before COVID hit.
What were your best? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
What were some of your proudest performances? Because I'm seeing this one thing that you posted up, a 51-minute 10-miler, and then all of a sudden it goes to show you've got some the same information about you shows you have really dog shit marathon times, which I don't assume is true. But did you run a 51-minute 10-miler?
Yeah, in Ballycotton, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty hard in the paint. So like, what are some of your peak performances where you're like, that was like the race?
I think the best race I ever had wasn't really a race. It was one of those things where you kind of mistimed peaking. And it was St. Patrick's Day one year. I had ran 100 miles. Paddy's Day fell on a Sunday. I had already ran 100 miles that week. I ran into where the race was 6 miles from the house. So I ran to the race and then ran to the race 5K in like 14:40 felt like I was actually just jogging the thing, didn't put any sort of effort into it, and then just ran through the finish line and ran the 6 miles home. Wow. And that's the one I always kind of look back and think, if I had have actually properly raced that day, or if I hadn't done 100 miles leading into it, that would have been a big performance.
Yeah, that's nuts.
14-minute 5K?
Yeah. I was training for a marathon at the time, so I was just more concentrating and just getting mileage. Mm-hmm. And then I had a good marathon one year where I kind of went out way too slow. I went out in 73:30 and came back in 70:30 for a 2:24, and I kind of left that a bit behind on the day. If I had went a bit harder in the first half, I think I could have ran something decent that day.
Fuck, man.
But these are all when you're finished, you have all the what if moments, don't you? What if I had it on this? What if I had it on that?
Right when I started to peak my running career, I found TMX, and it totally pivoted my training style. Like I was running, the best race I ever ran was the Mount Boney Trail Race. It was part of the Xterra series, and in the middle of a 13.6 mile race with 3,600 feet of climbing, I ran a 14:54 5K. 2 of the miles were downhill and the last mile was flat. And like, listen, I went downhill, but I still covered the ground. And like, I had it like beeping my watch, like new PR. And I've never felt that way before. And then shortly thereafterwards, within like 3 months, they introduced the TMX platform, which was the 1 mile championship from Tough Mudder. And that's when fitness racing, like our style of racing, kind of was really started. It was now like, you were not just like running, but you were doing obstacles, and then you were doing a fitness station. And I was like, this is so much cooler than just jogging all the time. And I will never forget that day. Like, you feel like a god, and you look back on it and you're like, wow, that is crazy. But that's so nuts, dude. It's such an amazing feeling. Like, I will say running is probably the weakest I've ever felt. And it's like, it's everything else in your life. Like, if a child decided to kidnap you, there's nothing you could do. Like, you're that weak. But when you are running at that level where it's like this effortlessness of just moving through time and space so quickly, it's incredible. You feel so high.
Yeah, there's no feeling like it.
Yeah.
I definitely never replicated in the gym or anything like that.
Yeah, it is so good, dude. Especially when you're running on grass. Yeah. Running on grass, like cross country style, running fast. Oh my God. And like hearing the splash, like hitting puddles and shit, and you're just ricocheting out of them. So, I mean, obviously you did that for a while. COVID hit, and, your love letter business, your side hustle was probably, it was booming because people wanted love letters in the middle of COVID to keep their spirits high, correct?
Wait, what is this love letter business?
Oh, Tom writes handwritten letters, and he puts lipstick on and he kisses every single one of them, and he mails them to people. That's what this warehouse is, dude. There's a bunch of people back there with kissing booths.
Just kissing things all day.
You get lipstick for free, and you just put a smacker on it and then send it out.
Yeah, it's like OnlyFans.
Yeah. Only the Irish version.
Handwritten Irish style.
Yeah. What's your business, Tom? Everyone's actually pretty curious.
No, it's actually wedding stationery that Hunter's talking about.
Okay. So you have like really nice handwriting.
No, I don't handwrite any of it. It's all just printed. It's we have loads of different designs and things, all right, but people just pick the designs. And so we do lots of different printing. Basically all sort of digital lithographic printing. We do T-shirts, we do hoodies, we do all that sort of stuff, screen printing, vinyl.
Speaking of that, we helped out High Rocks big time recently in a pinch. So anybody who's listening to this from the executive team, you guys owe us big time. Yo, Tommy Hogan, big time, dude. And we don't run business like normal guys. We're crooks. I'll cane your knees in next time I see you. You owe me $1.
I need a massive stand at the next High Rocks.
Dude, everybody knows that the Irish mafia is way worse than every other version of mafia. Tom will chop you up and put your body into these letters and ship them around the country. They'll never find you. So, obviously, like you hit that peak point with your running, and COVID hit, kind of put that to a little bit of a stop. Where did you find High Rocks? Because High Rocks is one of these kind of things where it originated over in the European region, started to pick up in the UK, came to the United States. Where did it first come on your radar?
Yeah, so what year did COVID hit? Like that was like 2020, was it?
2020.
So in 2019, I just started getting injury after injury after injury. Every time I come back, I get injured again. My hips were always sore. Stop for a month, come back, hips are sore again. And I went and got MRIs, and I was told I had a thing called vascular necrosis, which basically means the top of my femur is dead and is decaying little by little every day. So I can't do high mileage anymore. I can't do simple things. I can't sit for long periods. That's actually by far the worst thing.
How bad did it suck when we were driving around the country?
It sucked bad. It's in agony every single day.
My back too.
But there's no fixing it. I can get a hip replacement, but that's not going to make me run any better than I can run right now. So I was basically told you can keep competing, but you gotta ease back a lot after running. So after thinking about it, I wasn't prepared to do races and get beat by people that I know I could beat. I just wasn't into that. I wasn't into just racing age group things. I didn't want to do that. If I want to compete, I'm going to compete at the highest level, or I'm not going to do it. So I was looking for something different. I looked into CrossFit. I quickly found out that I can't do gymnastics for shit. So that wasn't going to work.
Those damn Jimmies.
Yeah. And then I found High Rocks online. And myself and Dina went in March 2020, right before COVID hit. We went to Hanover and did a doubles. We sucked at it. I think we were like 103, 102.50 or something like that. I could barely move the sled. I weighed 69 kilos from the years of running. So the sled killed me, the lunges killed me, and I came back from that and thought, I'm not going to leave it at that. I need to actually do a decent one of these before I quit it.
The first time I ever raced you, I probably weighed about 30K more than you.
Yeah. So I just basically spent lockdown eating. I just ate for all of lockdown.
It's the opposite of the potato famine. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of the potato famine. It was like almost like you had a surplus of potatoes.
I had to eat like so many potatoes every day, like 3 sacks of potatoes daily to put on the extra weight.
So it's called the potato plan. If I can follow this, like I can have a body like good old Tommy Hogan.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, Tom, you don't follow the keto diet.
No. Only eat carbs.
Carbs only. What's that humming sound?
What's that noise? Is that me? gone.
All right, we're good now. We've lost Hunter's sound.
Yeah.
Hey, your sound's off, bud.
You still got it off.
I see you. You've muted yourself. You got the. Hang on. I just muted your mic.
Am I better?
Yeah, you're on now.
How do you work with this amateur every week, Ryan?
It's tough. He pays me in peanuts, but I like it.
That's right, dude.
And free trips across the country. I'll take it, honestly.
That's right. What are you guys talking about? He's been to California like 3 or 4 times since I met him. It's a good life, Hogan. You hot piece of trash. Quit bad mouthing us. Head operations for this business. So when did you all of a sudden recognize that you were going to be good at this thing? Because listen, everybody I talk to contacts me. They're like, I ran a simulation in my garage and I set the world record. And I'm like, that's great. Like, that's great that your mom helped you stack together some like milk jugs on top of a sled and, you know, gave you like a tennis ball to practice wall balls with and stuff. But when you get into the real thick of it, you're going to die. When did you realize you're like, I can come compete?
Well, they had the VCF thing during lockdown.
Yep.
So they had those virtual things and I did those. And I kind of knew by the shape and the look of people that I'd be better runner than most of them. Like, I didn't believe, I'd seen sometimes online the people were posting, I actually just flat out kind of said, no, they didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know, I can beat these people in a race. Plus, I seen you were at the top of the sport and I thought, how hard can this shit be?
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
When you look at pictures of me where you're like, man, I could beat that guy with my hands tied behind my back, or did you recognize you're in deep water because you saw such a specimen, such like a thick piece of fine ham?
But so the first time I ever saw you was on, what do you call it, Broken Skull.
Yep.
I hadn't been watching it, but my father had been watching it, and he actually came to me and said, "There's a guy winning that thing. I guarantee you'd beat him."
Well, your dad was wrong. Your dad was wrong.
Yeah, I'm just too old. 32-year-old Tom would beat 32-year-old Hunter.
Where's that rapscallion, Mr. Hogan? I'm gonna give him a speaking to. So, you know, was it through the virtual championship that you qualified for world championships?
Yeah. So even at that, I don't think So I finished second in the virtual championships. I was robbed of it.
To who?
Because I didn't film the date at the start of the workout. I filmed that at the end of the workout. So they gave me a penalty because they said that wasn't the rule. You're supposed to show the date before the workout. Oh. So I got like a penalty. I got pushed back into second, and who's the CrossFit guy? He ended up coming first.
Friesen? Marcus Friesen?
No. The
German guy?
He has the gym, yeah.
He's a great guy.
What was the penalty for High Rocks?
I think it was like a 3-minute penalty because I showed the time or the date after the event rather than before the event. Oh. So
JFit wants to know what your 2-mile run was for the virtual contest.
9:50.
That's baller. You know, Alec Ronkovic posted he ran like an 8:30.
At the time when he said that, I actually looked it up and it would have been an Austrian national record. So he would have been the second fastest European ever behind Mo Farah, I think.
I got to put a beat. Maybe Ronkovic is just really shitty at stations. Super shitty at stations, and he's like God when it comes to running.
Yeah. And I did that 9:50 like in the pissings of rain, wind howling in February in Ireland. It was very unfair. But people were like in LA running in the sun, and I was out in shitty weather getting beat up.
Don't get yourself into deep water over here, bad mouth in LA. All right, that's where your patron saint lives. Yeah. So I mean, all of a sudden you show up to High Rocks World Championships. You're on the big stage, and obviously, what did you compete at? How well did you do at World Championships in 2021?
I think I was like 9th.
And what'd you get in 2022?
8.
There you go, improvement. That's it. That's what we're looking for.
But I got a bit of a shock, to be fair, in Leipzig in the first one. I had never done a high rocks on my own. I'd only ever done the doubles with Dina, so I had no idea with the pro weights or bar doing a bit at home. I got shocked by how hard it actually was. I think it was like 104 or something like that.
Your first ever race individually was 9th in the world at World Championships.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive. That's awesome. And were you the oldest guy there?
Yeah. Tiago was close to me, but I was a couple of months older than I think. Tiago Lausa from Portugal, remember the little small guy?
Are you talking about the guy that took third that somehow like a ghost like just like disappeared and gained some extra laps?
Yeah, that's it.
Listen, to this day, I'm not buying this shit. I don't think it's your fault, Tiago, but Christ almighty, you did not take third place at World Championships. Yeah, I mean, that's very, very impressive. You know, oldest dude, bum hip, you know, with a side hustle of writing love letters. I mean, you probably have the most impressive story of everybody there.
No one ever lets me forget that I'm the oldest guy there.
Well,
every time I do something with high rocks, it's like, tell us your age.
Well, I mean, it's impressive, dude. When you go to World Championships, Kent and I are both in our 30s, and then it went like Ronkovic, who I think is like young 30s, if not like late 20s, and then Tim's like 10. And then like it's a pretty young sport. Like you're a decade older than I am almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty.
I keep
impressive.
telling you that's the only reason you're beating me.
100%.
There has to be some sort of equation where if you like you do for altitude but running, if you take 10 years off, how fast would I be, kind of thing.
Dude, I'm gonna be so ripped and buff by the time I'm your age, dude. I literally could walk outside. I wouldn't need an axe anymore. I'd just pull trees out of the ground with my bare hands. I could run through the mountains like a bronco. You know, it's gonna happen. Everyone's like, old age is hitting you, dude. I'm 33. I'm the fittest I've ever been. I'm sure there's going to be diminishing returns, probably around 70. So obviously we had a great time that night. We got drunk in a parking lot. At what point did you recognize you're like, this guy and I should be business partners?
At the point where we were the only two who were willing to like get a party started. Everyone else was happy to like go to bed at 9 o'clock with one drink, and we were like, oh hell no. Let's get to the supermarket, buy a shitload of cheap warm beer and drink it in the parking lot.
And that's exactly how an international business is started, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are reading all these books and watching all these master classes with all these hack job billionaires. It starts in a parking lot with a cheap 30 rack of Polaner beer. And letting you guys know right now.
I was almost sold then, but when you came running naked through the car park later that night, that sealed it. I was like, yep, he's the guy to work with.
He's my guy.
That's it.
He's my guy right there.
Dude. That was a lot of fun, dude. That was so much fun. I honestly, that hangover lasted about 2 months. Yeah, because it was continuous. It was one of those kind of things where I just kept on keeping the cup full. The hangover didn't really hit until later on down the line, but it did hit.
So the party, the 2001 party in a parking lot with warm beer topped the 2022 party in Vegas with DJ Khaled.
Yeah. They wouldn't let me into that party, by the way.
I heard that, you know, our ticket, I qualified for Worlds, and the ticket, you know, specifically said that being a High Rocks athlete, you had your own entry and, you know, you got it comped. But from what I heard, that you stood in the same line as everyone else, and the line was 3 hours long.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. We got in and then got kicked out again.
I was the world champion, and they wouldn't even let me in. They're like, this hot piece of trash is out of here.
It's crazy. We got in the queue, and then I said, no, we're not getting in the queue. No way. We'll go down for a drink. Met Christian on one of the escalators. He said, come with me. He brought us up to the very front, got us in past security, and then Dina got asked for ID. Didn't have it with her because she hasn't had one in like 20 years, and they refused entry.
son of a bitch, dude. So obviously, like, you've obviously had a really decorated career in athletics, and you have an established business. What's the next chapter for Tom Hogan now? Because, you know, obviously old age is coming after you, kind of like there's blood in the water and the sharks are starting to circle.
Yep.
Are you going to continue on with High Rocks? Are you going to continue to push your love letter industry? Are you going to become a supplement billionaire? Like, what's the next step?
Supplement billionaire sounds nice.
It does sound nice.
I could take that one.
It is a plush lifestyle.
Yeah, I'll do High Rocks for this season. If I get to the Elite 15 this year, that'll be the end of competing on my own, and I'll just do things with Dina then for a bit of fun. I think we'll jump into doubles every now and again, and I actually do like the High Rocks races, just being around them, pushing builder and stuff like that. So that's the plan going forward.
It is growing so quickly over there, and it's pretty mind blowing.
Well, maybe me and you will have to do doubles again if Mr. Weenish or Vinish and Michelle.
That's the only thing that could take me out of retirement is if Tim Winish and Michelle Sandbitch try to really keep on tooting their horns. I'm gonna twist them up like a pretzel, and I'll put them on top of my sled because the weight's not heavy enough for me.
They're going this week, and I just on my phone there's something just popped in from Tim. He just sent me a message about something. I guarantee it's about that. Really?
He's probably listening into this right now, biting his fingernails, being like, I'm gonna get them so bad. It's all right, dude. I hope you do well. It's not that I don't want you to do well, but you'd be a fool to think that I'm gonna sit here and just passively let you pass my record. Not gonna happen, brother. So, you know, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was Ironman. And I think it's interesting to talk to you because you had done so many different sports. Like, you weren't like the guy who got into Ironman and became a dedicated Ironman person. How did you find triathlons, and what was your approach to training for them? And then how did you discover Ironman and decide you wanted to get into that?
I had done a lot of years mountain running. I ran for Ireland a lot doing that. And on top of all the marathons and things, I just wanted to change one year. I just thought I've done marathons, mountain running every year for the last 5 or 6 years. Dana had done a couple of Ironman in Roth in Germany, and we always had a good time there. So I just kind of thought, for a change this year, not for the whole year, I'll just dedicate a couple of months to Ironman, do one of those, and just tick it off the list.
Which one did you do?
Ironman done. Roth in Germany. It's the biggest mass participation one in the world. Yeah.
And what was your time?
9:50 or 9:51.
Break it down with me.
Yeah.
What was your swim?
I swam. I think I exited the transition around the 70 minutes. So I think my swim was like 66, 67 minutes.
That's great.
And then I was out in around 70.
And what was your bike?
Almost bang on the 5 hours.
Awesome. And your marathon had to be like 2.
No, that's where it all went to shit. Yeah, that's where everything went to shit. This is what I do actually hope you find. So everyone I told kind of said to me leading into it, sure, all you got to do is get through the bike. You know, you're going to piss. I don't think I ever ran a marathon slower than like 2:40 in my life, even in training. So I kind of had it in my head I could do 9 hours. And getting off that bike in 5 hours, I thought, I'm definitely going to do 9 hours. Like, this is going to be simple. I only got to run like 2:50. And I have it done. And I ran the first 13 miles in like 81 or 82 minutes. And Dean and all the family were at halfway. I actually stopped to take a picture with the boys. I gave Tess a hug. I thought, this is the easiest thing in the world. I'm going to just piss through 9 hours in my first one and never have to do another one again. And about 500 meters after passing the family, someone just flicked the switch and gone. Totally gone. No more energy. No nothing. I just basically crawled, dragged myself, walked. You wouldn't even call it running for the last 13 miles. It was just hell.
Yeah. Were you crawling across the finish line?
Pardon?
Were you crawling across the finish line?
Yeah.
No,
did you poop yourself?
I got into a little kind of, I don't know. You wouldn't. Again, it wasn't running. It was just like a shuffle kind of a thing because in Roth to build like a stadium for the finish line is. So you have a couple of thousand people in there shouting and screaming at you. So I put on a show for them and like got up to like a 12-minute mile.
So how did you prepare for this thing? Like, how did you originally prepare for it versus how you would prepare for it now if you wanted to break that 9-hour mark?
Well, when I started, I couldn't swim, so I did a lot of swimming.
Okay.
I'm
never swimming, by the way.
I couldn't swim like 2 lengths of the pool, so I actually joined a club to actually learn how to swim. That kind
you can't see how good looking I am if my head's in the water, so that's why I never spend time swimming.
Don't do it.
Showcase only.
You did a lot of swimming.
And I did a lot of biking because I thought I don't need to do much running. So I biked a lot. We used to get up at like 3:30 a.m. on weekends, and well, it was all on turbo trainers. We never really went out on the roads. 1, the weather is not great here. 2, the roads are shit. And 3, we actually had a friend in the club who was killed off his bike kind of a year before that. So there was kind of a feeling in the club of it was kind of safer to be in. So we get up at 3:30 and do like 6-hour turbos indoors, upstairs in the house every single week. So I was probably logging 200 miles a week on the bike, 4 swims a week, and wasn't really doing much running unless it was off the bike. I'd always run off the bike every time I was on it. So that was kind of the whole training.
This sounds so miserable. We're training very differently right now. I mean, so how would you change it if you could? Pick up the running? What would you? Is there anything like you think it was just experience, nutrition?
I'd have put a lot more emphasis on nutrition. Anyone that asks me now what's an Ironman, I tell them it's an eating competition.
Yep.
That's all it is, because after 4 hours of on the move, your body just doesn't want to eat anymore, and it's you're actually force feeding yourself after that. And it's the discipline. It's the discipline to say, right, I need 500 calories every hour, and to actually start shoving that into your mouth while you feel sick.
Are you eating a bunch of gels on this, or is it like actual whole food?
No, I made, like on the bike, I had sandwiches and bananas, and I had like peanut butter little ball things because they were high in calories and stuff like that. I had carbohydrates in my drinks. But
Brian,
I never
shut your damn mouth, or I'll slap you in the face next time I see you. Sorry, we got a sassy client.
But I never really put the emphasis on it in training. You know, I'd never really thought too much about it. It was kind of like, oh, it's 2 weeks before the race. What am I going to eat? It was that kind of thing.
Interestingly enough, so now that you're a founding partner in a supplement company, it's interesting. Like, what were you guys doing back when you were doing all these marathons and stuff? Like, what were you guys taking in for hydration? Did anybody talk to you guys about electrolytes? Like now that you know what you know now, like what's water? Are you kind of like, oh shit, I wish, or are you just like, I don't give a damn, I just run on water?
No, I wish we had the knowledge back then. It was just water. Basically just drank water. You might take a gel at 30 miles in the marathon and that would have been it.
Yeah,
it was just water. Every water station, there's usually a water station every 3 to 4 miles, and it wouldn't have even been like, oh, I'm going to drink this much water. It would have been just wash your mouth out with a couple of mouthfuls of water and throw it away, and on you go.
My protocol is every 10 to 15 minutes, I'm drinking out of my water bottle, and I'm trying to finish a water bottle every hour, and I have a scoop of Builder in it. Every 30 minutes, I'm taking in a solid gel, usually like Morton, something that's a little bit heavier, or like down like a whole Cliff Shot block system, which I think has like around 200 calories in it. And once I get tired of eating, I've got that BOA spray, and I'm hitting BOA in my mouth if I just like don't feel like eating anymore. That's my rotation. That's my rotation right now. And I have not like come anywhere close to bonking. And I don't know. I mean, like I honestly was getting really, really into my Ironman training, and then my bike died, and someone assassinated it. There was like a sniper up in the hills, and he's like, kill it. And it just ripped it out of the back of the car and smashed it on the highway. And I was on Old Blue yesterday doing a 2-hour ride, and Old Blue and a 2-hour ride is an ugly day. Alejandro sucks ass. It's gonna suck to do my Ironman on that thing, but I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna run like a 13 minutes marathon at the end.
You're not gonna do it on that though, are you?
I don't know what to do, man. Like, here's the thing: this Ironman for me, like, so many people are like, just go buy a new bike. I'm like, listen, I'm not spending $5,000 to $15,000 on a new bike. Like, this was a hobby project. I'm not an Ironman athlete. I'm actually getting into paddling, and I've always used my off season to do really extreme things to keep me motivated and just encourage myself to keep on doing the volume that it takes to be a champion. So I was like, why not do an Ironman? Great way to just tackle volume. It's just off season, spread it out, do some swimming, do some biking, do some running. And now I'm just like catching myself withering away. Like, if a big bird came down and saw me in my backyard, it could probably pick me up and take me away like a baby. I'd be like, no, help. Like, there's nothing I could do. I'm withering away. And the fact that like my bike died, like, I'm just like, you know what? Maybe this is just a sign from Jesus. Jesus is like, hey, Hunter, why don't you just take a chill pill?
So the two Ironman I didn't have a decent bike either. I trained on a piece of shit, and then about 2 or 3 weeks before, I actually bought a bike online, finished the race, and instantly sold the bike again. I did that twice.
I'm not going to go through that process. Like, I literally today from Germany is arriving my paddling boat. I spent $5,000 on my boat. I spent another $1,500 on my boat rack. I don't need to spend more money on any more toys. All right. Like,
what about renting it out then? I rented one for half Ironman in Mallorca before. I got like a 10 grand trek bike for, I think it was £90 for the day or something.
I may do that and try to arrange it. My only fear is like, do you not feel comfortable? Like, I'm not training in the tuck position. I just don't want to end up in this position where I'm like in the tuck and all of a sudden I haven't trained for it and I forget where my brakes are and I just die.
Yeah, well, that'll fuck your back up if you haven't trained down on the bars. Like, your back just gets sore down there.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the volume in. I'm basically kind of running about 30 to 40 miles a week, and I'm doing about 100 to 150 miles of biking, and I'm doing one swim. My body's shaped like a torpedo, so I don't need to swim that much.
So have you shaved your legs yet?
No, dude.
So I was looking up there before I got on. This is done by Specialized. So over 40 kilometers, shaving your legs will save 15 watts of power, which equates to 79 seconds. So over 180 kilometers, sorry, that's like 5.5 minutes.
I don't doubt it.
Free time.
I'm gonna start shaving it. I mean, dude, if I had my mullet still, I'd probably
be like a 15-hour Ironman.
Yes, right. That's right. I can only imagine. So yeah, I got to figure this all out at this point. Like, right when I'm done here, today's a weightlifting day. I got to get off. Like, I'm tired of doing cardio, so I'm gonna eat like a bunch of beef jerky, lift some weights, and then swim this afternoon. And then tomorrow is a big endurance thing. I'm gonna wake up early in the morning and I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna do a 2-hour bike and do a 1-hour run. And like, I'm just piecing it together. All I have to do is fuck up Kyle. Like, Kyle's my buddy. I want to break 10 hours, but I'm literally going to be out there like Rambo. Like, I'm going to come in like from behind. He's not going to know it. And I'm just going to, yeah.
As long as you're over 950, that's all I'm looking for.
No, Tom,
I need to slow you down.
I'm going to rob even that from you.
I need to slow you down.
Yeah. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Specialized is actually trying to help me find a bike right now. So shout out to them for trying to put something together and help me find a bike. The other shout out I'm going to say is to Sailfish Wetsuits. They sent me a ton of gear. Like, I'm basically, my wetsuit is I take a bunch of paper towels and I put it in my shorts and stuff. That's my version of insulation. Like, it's just ghetto what my setup is. So they sent me some stuff. Other than that, like, you know, I don't know. I don't have any shout outs. I don't have any shoe partner or anything like that, but I'm excited.
What shoe will you wear?
You know,
see, if you wear a carbon shoe, I'm calling bullshit on your time compared to my time.
Did you see
carbon didn't exist when I was running these things.
Well, hear me out for a second. Did you see the article that just came out about this Gustav guy that set the world record for he set the marathon world record and he set the Ironman world championship record? So yeah, dude, he ran a 2:36 and that company sponsored him. There's a rule in the World Athletic Federation, something like that. You can't have a 40 millimeter plus stack, and he did. And like, even in his article, he's like, dude, when I was running downhill, it felt like I was like being like pushed downhill. So these shoes are just getting so crazy. A 40 millimeter stack, that's bigger than the average penis. No, I'm just kidding. It's huge. If you look at him running and you actually look down, dude, it looks like those like platform shoes that they used to wear in the disco era.
It's crazy. Some people are getting like a minute over 5Ks and all in them. It's actually mental.
I mean, listen, I'll be totally honest. Like, I don't agree with it. But at the same time, it's like, it'd be like competing in bodybuilding where steroids are illegal. Like, you'd be such an idiot to try to stand on stage next to guys that are all gassed up and be like, it's not fair. Just like, shut your mouth and play a different sport then. Like, I set my world record in a non-carbon shoe, but then I raced world championships in a carbon shoe.
I don't think it makes much difference for high rocks. I don't, with the turning and twisting, and they're only good in straight lines, basically. You need a long straight line.
It's more challenging. I tell everybody this. I'm like, it's going to be more challenging for your wall balls, your burpees. Like, everything is just awkward in them. But at the same time, like, I felt good, so I just went with it. I tested every shoe like 100 times. So I guess the other thing I want to chat about is world domination with Builder. I'm going to go through a run through here, and I'm actually polishing up a conversation that I'm going to work on with a nutritional scientist who is going to help us kind of really open up the conversation of the difference between BCAAs, EAAs, eating a piece of steak or chicken, and protein powder. But I just kind of want to ask your level of understanding of like sports nutrition, how you got interested in wanting to work in this, and what you want to see a company like Builder do for the athletic community. Like, what are your goals and ambitions? Because I have mine, but obviously I think it's cool to hear about your position and what you want to do in the industry.
I just want to make a shitload of money.
There you go. That's right, dude. That's right, dude. Good for you.
No point in telling all these people lies.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding around.
I want to give a great product and make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that.
Yeah.
That.
Well, I mean, listen, my passion truly is formulation. Like, I'm coming up with our second product right now, and I've been like just passing things around and studying it. Like, Tom's the business side of things, and maybe he's making a joke, but he is a really good businessman. I'm the kind of guy who's the geek behind it all and wanting to see different products. And the reason why I got into this industry is because all of a sudden, you know, I'm working with this product company right here, and I work with them for years. And then all of a sudden I start to wise up, and I recognize that one can of their product has like 1/6 of the amount of ingredients that one scoop of my product has. And I was like, this doesn't do anything. This doesn't do anything at all. And you got other brands that are trying to push essential amino acids and all these kind of things. And there's nothing wrong with any one product, but it's the question of how right it is for you. And Builder, our motto is building better athletes. We want you guys to have the best athletic experience out there. We're making products so that if all of a sudden you decide to go do a high rocks, a marathon, a triathlon, that our product is the right product for your journey. You don't have to take 5 scoops of our product. 1 scoop will get you to the finish line faster. And the reason why I'm doing all this research on essential amino acids versus branched amino acids is because I want people to understand, like, originally I got into this because I recognize I can't just be stuffing chicken breasts down my mouth while we're training for Ironmans like this. Like, you can't do it in the gym. You can't do it anywhere. You also need the time to digest it, like all of these things. So then all of a sudden you supplement your lifestyle. Ideally, we're getting all of our nutrition and we're perfectly sitting in a little petri dish, getting food handed to us, and someone's rubbing our back while we're eating and everything. But that just doesn't happen in athletics. You get the miles in where you can, and you do the best that you can with the time that you have. And then the question is whether or not you get down to your supplements, and basically it's like, hey, we have this option and we have this option. Now, the marketing for this company right here is really convincing, but you don't even really look at the science behind it at all. You just really like the pictures and the hot chick that's putting it in her water bottle and running away, and you can see her butt cheeks jiggling. You're like, man, that's the product for me.
We need that.
We need that. The thing that I want to convince people of, and I think, maybe I'm going on a rant here, is not all products are created equal. And I think that if you really want to be the best version of yourself, you shouldn't just look at the training that you're doing. You should look at the things that are fueling you to get to the finish line. And much like Tom said, the fourth leg of Ironman, it goes swim, bike, run, food. Food's the fourth leg. And that also includes your hydration and all other aspects. So make sure that, you find a good company like ours to help support you get to the finish line faster and in better shape. So, more coming on, guys. Also, Tom, thank you for setting up our third flavor now in Europe, which is available. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think the trap a lot of people fall into with sports, especially if they're younger, is kind of this attitude of, but sure, I'm doing well without it. Why do I need supplements? I'm doing okay as I am, but they don't actually realize, well, yeah, you're doing okay, but if you want to actually push to the next level or step up again, you do need it.
Yep.
And I've had those conversations with people. I had a conversation with a guy in Basel who wins the Open and the High Rocks all the time. And he was like, yeah, but I'm winning without it. I was like, yeah, but maybe you'll break a world record or win even more convincingly with it. So I think a lot of people fall into that.
You haven't broke that world record yet, have you, bud?
Yeah. A lot of people fall into that trap.
I mean, tell him to put his ego aside and come race at the pro division. What the hell is that?
I think I might have said that to him too.
Yeah. That's like saying you're the best guy in the junior varsity team. That's okay. You're swimming in a pond that's about this big when there's an ocean right next door. You know what I mean? Come into the deep end of the pool with a big fish.
I think as people get older, like I did, they kind of realize the need for these things to prolong athletic performance. When you're in your early 20s, yeah, you can get by on a mouthful of water and fucking nothing else. But as the years go on, that doesn't work anymore. Like as you get older and older, you need things. You need supplements to make you better and keep you going the way you were going.
I remember a Spartan race. I don't know if it was a championship or not, but we raced in South Carolina and we had cooked steak and baked potatoes, sweet potatoes the night before. I woke up the morning of the race, like 60 minutes before the race. I ate half of a steak and a whole baked potato. If I tried to do that now before even going out for a 30-minute jog, I'd throw up and poop my pants. Like it's just different. Like, and I know it sounds ridiculous. I'm not trying to make myself sound weak. It's just, yeah, you can get away with almost anything when you're younger. I used to be able to drink like 30 beers and run through brick walls. Now I have like 2 glasses of wine a night and I'm like, like the next day.
2-day hangover, elephant sitting on your head.
Yeah. I'm like, what the hell is going on? But Tom and I will continue to bring the best products to the market that we possibly can. If you are interested and you are listening to this show and you live in the UK, European region, Tom is going to be the guy who's handling it. And that's Builder, BLDR international.com. And then if you're interested in getting our products here in the United States, it's buildersports.com. So you guys can make sure you'll see us at events, like, and if you need support questions on how to get ready for an event using our product, just shoot us a DM and we'll obviously help you out. Let's see if I can just answer some of these questions as we're going through.
One of them was from Brian J asking, would Hunter consider competing if he was given a guarantee for entry to the High Rocks Elite 15?
I consider it. Like, I'm not trying to diminish the athletic community here, but I'm trying to get into paddling, and the qualifications for world championships, I think it's really challenging. And I have to speak openly now, and I'm just going to speak as loudly as I can because I got nothing to lose. The material of the sleds and a couple of the course designs, compare it from Europe compared to the United States, is so drastically different that I think that a lot of the best athletes in the world are actually here in the United States, and the likelihood that they'll qualify because of how different it is going to make it very slim. Like, there's all these dudes that I'm racing against in Europe that I would run a 55 in the United States and they'd run a 65 in the United States in comparison to me. But, all of a sudden their qualifying time was only like 2 minutes behind my qualifying time. I think all the people that broke under, other than what's his face, God damn it. Other than Ryan Kent, nobody broke 60 minutes in the United States. And then all of a sudden we Like Tom, you broke 60 minutes last year, didn't you?
No. All the sub 60s were in Maastricht. I wasn't in Maastricht.
What was your 60-18? What'd you get?
Yeah, that was in like Frankfurt. Yeah.
Okay, but you ran a 60-18. What was your finishing time at World Championships?
I think it was like 104 or 103. 103.
Yeah, and I ran a 57. So, like, not trying to badmouth you by any means, but I'm just showing you guys this humongous difference. And the reason that I'm not going to train here for it. So my qualification time would have to be like a 57-minute or better. And I know what I have to do to get into 57-minute shape, and I'm not going to do it to get there until I need to. So
unless you could do the US Championships though.
I don't know if I'm going to do it because you also have to qualify for US Championships.
Yes, that is true. Top 15 times to qualify for that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do. I'm not. There
was a debate over here on one of the podcasts or something. Should the world champions get entry to the following year? And I think the poll was fairly unanimous, and they said that they should get entry the following year if they wanted it.
Yeah,
I'd add to that you probably have to do one race the following year, even not for a time, but just to show up to. If you want the qualification, you'd have to do something. Just do one race somewhere.
Yeah, I don't mind running in circles and stuff, but just like, I don't know. The Olympics that I'm going to try to qualify for in 2024, I can always come back to High Rocks. Next Olympics is in 2028, and it's going to be in home turf in LA. So to me, my athletic career would be the culminating moment would be qualifying for the Olympics. And like, I could die at that point. I'd be like, what else are you going to, all of a sudden a laser beam is going to come down. The aliens are going to pick only me up. They're like, he's the one. We want him. We'll bring him to paradise. All you other fucking idiots, you stay here. Driving your Teslas looking like Puss in Boots. Whereas they'll beam me up in my Bronco that's not smog certified, and I'll just soar into the sky all happy. Like, goodbye, everybody. I did it. So I don't know. That's like, just saying it right now makes me so happy. When I say going to High Rocks World Championships 2023, not diminishing anybody's goals, it doesn't flip my light switch the way everything else used to.
I think you'll be there.
What's that?
I think you'll be there.
I mean, I talk this shit every single year, and I always show up. All I have to do is just hear from Tim Winnish or another one of these guys that piss me off. All I need to hear is a couple podcasts, like of some dude who's going to run someone's going to break my world record, and it's going to be absolute bullshit, and that's going to piss me off beyond belief. Yeah, of course it's going to be over in Europe. They're going to be like, "Oh, we forgot to put all the plates on, but it's still verified time."
Well, they actually put an extra plate on last weekend gone in Birmingham. People were giving out about it. So on the pull, they said now that the sleds are lighter than the sleds used to be, they no longer weigh 35 kilos or whatever they were. So they actually put an extra plate onto the pull to make up for that.
Up for the sled. I don't think it's the actual weight of the sled. I just don't get it's the friction of the carpet and the skis.
The stack height. The stack height is a big thing. On my carpet at home in my gym, if I put 250 kilos of bumper plates, I won't move it. But if I put, say, 100 kilos of bumper plates, and then I put 150 kilos of dumbbells on there, it's still 250, but I can push that easy. But when the stack height is up, I can't push it.
Well, you got to understand, I mean, also if you start to tip it, it will lean the weight forward and stuff. Like I think in Europe, we do completely that high composite plate that's thick.
Yeah,
in Europe,
we have
you guys
the iron
cap. 2, and then you do iron.
Yeah,
it's all different. It's all different, and we're just sitting here looking like we're bitching and moaning. But like someone's got to keep on saying it, otherwise it's never going to get better. So
yeah, there's no reason it couldn't be the same plates. In fairness, like that's a simple fix.
Yeah. Tom, where do we see you next? I mean, I'm assuming I'm going to see you in a week. You're flying down here.
Yeah.
Yo, want to see Ryan? You guys need to link up your times. You need to get your ticket into here, get a car so you guys can all come down here together.
How far is it down?
We've exchanged messages. I just was working on one other thing yesterday, and now today is book the flight day.
A lot of stuff going on in this household. Mess.
What have we got? Like a 2 hour 30 drive?
Yeah, but it's all on the
LA,
coastline.
San
All you're going to
Diego.
be seeing is girls in bikinis and rays of sunshine, things you don't get over in Ireland.
I'll be after getting off an 11-hour flight.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Damn it. Look at this. These people are here sawing down my trees. There's, the power company out here is always out here fucking up all my trees because they're nervous that a windstorm is going to come through and they're going to get fined when it knocks down the power poles. Sons of guns, messing with my land. I've become such a mountain man. Every time I see him, I'm like, get out of my woods. I'm going crazy.
These are my trees.
All right, guys. So next time we see you is going to be a battle bunker. Tom will be there. Ryan will be there. If you guys are in the California area or you just want to fly in to come see us, it's going to be a blast. It'll be worth the while. We'll have a bunch of kegs and stuff afterwards to party at, and then live and love.
In the car park, I hope.
In the car park, dude. That's the only way I party, dude. At the Elite Training Center. Guys, if you're interested in what we've got going on the house side of things, we are launching our training camp all virtual. So you guys can do this anywhere in the world. And basically we teach you the lessons of things that you basically learned about today with Tom and I, basically being the strongest and best version of yourself through all of the skills and little loopholes that I've learned in the 10 years of being a career athlete. And, basically you can win at life if you can win as an athlete. So we're really pumped to share that with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in Builder, you guys remember the sites Builder International and buildersports.com. Get yourself some soon, and we'll be back in touch.
We'll see you soon.
All right. You like that, Tom? That was pretty magical.
Magical.
That was magical.